y'all doing? So the rain has just started. We could possibly get 3 or 4 more inches, and that's what I'm looking at. So we're not going anywhere. So this Periscope is going to maybe be a little bit longer. I'm just going to put it out there. This isn't something I just started. I started farming 7 years ago when I lost my father. And then I started having kids. And I literally have filled out about 15 or 20 of these before I discovered Twitter. And I put them in the corner like a weirdo. But I'm constantly thinking, when you have 2 young kids and you're uncertain about the future, hey, sorry. That's not to be a Periscope. Huh? I'm doing a Periscope. Give me about 5-10 minutes. Okay. Yeah. Just give me just a second. Okay, sorry, folks. So what I was getting at, when you're a young farmer, you got kids, you're not going to just settle when times are tough. Your mind is constantly focusing and thinking of your circumstance and what you can do to succeed, be there, and give your kids something tangible so they can have the life that you were blessed to have yourself. So I actually went out in the wheat field today just a little bit ago. My jeans are wet, but I have no mud on my boots. It's amazing the difference between the wheat field and our conventional fields around the barns. This is amazing to me. So this is a row that was missing, and this is 60-inch wheat. And there are 68 viable heads on this plant. So I know I keep beating this in and you think I'm ADD, but the point is this. These roots at the bottom surface fit in this 2-inch by 2-inch surface, but I've got 68 viable heads up top. Now, why is this relevant? That's what I'm going to explain. We'll get the knife out here and I'll show you what this looks like. Give me just a second to cut this out. Okay, we're back. So you can see what this wheat plant is doing. It's turning this one seed into this amazing factory of seed just because of our ample fertility, the canvas that's underneath it, the manure, the phosphorus, the air from the cover crops, and now the space that it has, and using that entire calendar from October 1st all the way to this point. It's been, what, almost 200 days? And this is where we're at to this point. So you can see all these things, you split them open with your finger. I'll do it real quick here. Anyway, there are heads in the boot stage in every single one of these. It's like a anaconda just ate your house cat, and it's processing in its belly, and you give it another week and this wheat will be headed out. But to think that you have turned, I have heard agronomists talk over and over again how you can only get 2 viable heads out of a seed, and here we have 68. In unusual circumstances, cherry-picked a 60-inch row, but a lot of stuff in 37-inch row has 8 or 10 viable heads. And these heads aren't just regular heads. They're going to be longer. The seed will be bigger. And where I'm getting at, when you look at these graphs and you go way back from yield optimum to economic monocrop to when you stretch seed down to next to nothing and where you're at on the graph, and then you add cover crops, you add manure, we can change our formula like a Rubik's Cube and really start to do some really interesting things. So the reason why this is important, when you look at vertical integration now, back in the old days when we had a milkman and all this stuff, we were paying the farmers 20, 30, 40% of that end value. And now we've got $4 wheat. You can make 100 loaves of bread with a bushel, and we're only paying the farmer 1, 2, 3% for commodities of what the full vertical integration chain is getting at the end. So if this is pork, maybe the supermarket's at $600 by the time they pay, the loin, the ribs, they sell all that out. We're getting $20. But if we flip this vertical integration chart around, you have to realize that they need us. So logistically, they have to feed the pigs. They have to do all these things, and if we're smart and we analyze everything, we can start leveraging, I like that word, everything above us and get some value out of it. So the point in this flex and all this stuff I'm talking about here is if we can change the way that we think, if we can, instead of leveraging all this equipment to try to make ends meet on this bottom 2 or 3%, we get debt-free, we start using that manure differently. So if I get to 60 or 90 or 120-inch rows and I start placing manure underneath crops and they start behaving differently, now we can irrigate differently. Now we can use drip line and have less runs. How cool would it be to have 120-inch drip line irrigation that has manure flowing through it that feeds the crop automatically? Now we can start synergizing our tiles and run waterways and share our mains, and we can get this super farm that leverages all these integration chains above us. And one thing that we have really benefited from is being 2 or 3 miles away from the mill. So anytime we have a new contract negotiation, we can get $2, $3, $4 more than a farm that's $20 away, because 60% of that cost is feed. So logistically, they save so much money in our situation to feed our pigs that we can get higher help and vaccinations and all this stuff and put that in the contract, and it's really helped. That's why we're in here right now instead of in the hog barns. It's just thinking about your circumstances, your location, and leveraging that. So the manure, if we can figure out how to go even wider, is now with this 5 million gallons, if we go from 10 to 5 to 2 to 1,000 gallons per acre in this consolidated thing, now we can stretch that on 5,000 acres. We can do this more across acres. We can share that. We can come up with some kind of strategy to leverage that. But anyway, that's where my head's at, and I'm actually doing maybe 1% of where I want to be in 5 years, and it's all going to revolve around this idea that just completely changing the thought process from, I will try to push top yields monocrop, but my mindset is, how can we get a full system approach to really take advantage of our circumstances, our location, and go from there. But that's all I got for today. But thanks for listening.